After the running competition, I still feel dissatisfied with the results. Although the Silver Dragon Queen made a joke with me, she still chose to let me go. At this moment, her trusted maid reported to her about the situation of my master. She is aware of the situation and instructed her to continue investigating. Our eldest daughter told us that the school has organized an event that requires students to bring their families along. I exchanged a glance with the Silver Dragon Queen and made a decision. It's dinner time now. After the running competition, Leon, Roswitha, and Muin returned to the Silver Dragon Castle. After changing into new clothes in their room, they headed to the dining room for a meal. There are many foods on the dining table, such as steak, broth, and small desserts. These foods look very delicious and make people drool uncontrollably. Muin picked up a spoon and scooped a piece of meat. Then, she turned around and extended the spoon, placing her left hand under it to prevent any meat juice from dripping onto the floor. She said with a happy smile to the person sitting in front of her, "Dad, say, ah." Ah. Leon followed Muin's instructions and opened his mouth, then ate the piece of meat Muin gave him. At this moment, he was lying on the table like a deflated ball. He closed his eyes and held the spoon in his mouth, slowly savoring the taste of the meat chunks in his mouth. Because the running competition used all his strength, he now feels very tired. "Ah, Dad." Muin sat next to him. After watching him eat the spoon as well, she reached out in a panic, wanting to retrieve the spoon. Roswitha ate the food on her plate with a calm expression. She couldn't help but laugh at Leon when she saw him looking listless. "Those creaky bones of yours aren't getting any younger. Don't force yourself in the future." Muin quickly took the spoon out of Leon's mouth. Upon hearing Roswitha's words, Leon felt somewhat displeased. He expressed dissatisfaction with her words. He felt uncomfortable just thinking about how she had tortured his body so badly last night that he couldn't exert his full strength today. He chewed on the meat while protesting to her with a tired voice. "It must be related to last night's homework. If I hadn't written so late, I could definitely beat you today." Roswitha chuckled softly. She put down the knife and fork in her hand and crossed her hands in front of her chest. She said to him with a somewhat serious smile, "Oh, do you want to continue doing homework tonight?" "What?" Upon hearing Roswitha's words, Leon immediately sat up. He looked at her with a surprised expression and couldn't quite believe what he had heard. The exhaustion on his body seemed to have vanished without a trace by her words. He didn't want to be tortured by her again until he lost his strength. In order to escape the homework, specially customized for him by Roswitha at night, Leon immediately hugged Muin and pressed her face tightly. He immediately came up with a strategy in his mind. He nervously said to Roswitha, "I have made an appointment with Muin tonight. I need to tell her a story." Muin stared blankly at Leon. She doesn't know what his current behavior means. Muin looked at Leon with a puzzled expression. She doesn't seem to remember him mentioning this to her before. She asked him innocently, "Dad, do we have this appointment?" Leon felt a bit helpless towards Mune's pure words. If Roswitha finds out from Mune's words that he doesn't want to accept homework, she will definitely increase the amount of his homework. He turned his head a bit flustered, with a forced smile on his face, and gave her a stiff explanation. There was no such appointment just now, but now there is. Roswitha seemed to sense that Leon was nervous about her joke. She found his reaction very interesting. However, she did not directly express his true intentions in front of him. After finishing the food on the plate, she stood up and gave them a smile. She made a kind reminder to him and Muin. Don't speak too late. Have an early rest. After speaking, Roswitha left the dining room. Leon breathed a sigh of relief when he heard that Roswitha did not ask him to go to her room to do homework. He put his hand on his chest and gently patted it to calm his emotions. He won't be as tired as last night and unable to sleep tonight. Muin didn't understand what the conversation between Leon and Roswitha represented. She looked at the back of Roswitha and revealed a happy smile. She answered Roswitha, "I know, Mom." At this moment, Roswitha was taking a walk in the hallway. Outside the castle, the cool moonlight quietly shone on the corridor through the window. This makes the corridor even more mysterious. Roswitha happened to be walking down this corridor. Her footsteps echoed in this corridor. Her body was shrouded in moonlight, as if she had entered its embrace. The corridor inside the castle is very quiet, and there are no footsteps of anyone else. Suddenly, Roswitha stopped in her tracks. She seemed to have noticed someone behind her. However, she doesn't have to turn around to know who it is. She glanced back and calmly said a sentence to the person behind her. "You can come out." A black figure jumped in from the window outside the castle and stood in the shadows. This person is Sherry, who helped Roswitha go out to inquire about the whereabouts of Leon's master. At this point, she had already changed into clothes that were convenient for infiltrating human territory. She placed one hand at her heart and the other hand behind her. She lowered her head slightly and greeted Roswitha. "Your Majesty." Roswitha turned around to look at Sherry and asked her, "Is there any news?" Sherry reported to Roswitha expressionlessly about the situation she had observed and learned during this period. "I found the previously hidden residence of Tiger Lawrence and his wife, but they moved out over a year ago. They have left the Empire. When they left, they donated all their family's property to the orphanage and gave their livestock to their neighbors, except for..." Roswitha furrowed her brow slightly, as if she had taken some interest in this clue. "Except for?" "Except for a donkey." Sherry said this sentence to Roswitha with a serious expression. She probably didn't expect that what they left behind was not property, but an ordinary donkey. Sherry recalled the information she had previously gathered from the Tiger couple's neighbors. The neighbors said that the Tiger couple valued the donkey very much. They even brought it with them when they moved out. Roswitha remembered that Leon had mentioned to her the story between him and the donkey. She silently said in her heart, "Is it the donkey that Leon mentioned before?" After learning about the relevant situation, Roswitha lowered her head and pondered for a while. Then, She looked at Sherry and asked her to continue investigating Leon's master. Okay, I got it. Continue searching for Tiger's whereabouts. If you have any news, report back to me. Sherry nodded, indicating that she had received instructions from Roswitha. She bowed politely to Roswitha and said to her, "Got it." Then, Sherry's figure immediately disappeared from Roswitha's sight. Roswitha turned around and looked up at the window. She seems to have one more thing she can't figure out.
Hi, Pineapple has a good news to tell you. My app Lullaby can now be downloaded on the App Store and Google Play. You can search for Lullaby Light Novel in the search bar to find the app. After downloading the app, you can read our exclusive novels and comics more easily on your mobile phone. If you are interested, you can download Lullaby from the App Store and Google Play.